Hello there, I'm Hassanel and this is Nightline. The headlines. Prime Minister announces wage hike of over 13% for civil servants. And Transport Ministry closely monitoring Mount Ruang eruptions. Good morning. In conjunction with the Labor Day celebration on Wednesday, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim Raja Permaisuri Agong Raja Zahid Sofia have conveyed their heartfelt appreciation to all workers nationwide. Their Majesty said that workers are the driving force behind Malaysia's progress towards a better level. The King and Queen, in a post on Sultan Ibrahim's Facebook page, also acknowledged the efforts, commitment and sacrifices of every layer of workers, and that progress would not be achieved without their tireless dedication. Labor Day is observed on May 1st every year to commemorate workers' contributions to the nation, with this year's theme being Pekerja ke Semua Bangsa. The government will increase the remuneration of civil servants by more than 13% this year, the highest in Malaysia's history. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the increase will be effective from December 1st.
Paling tinggi dalam sejarah kenaikan di negara ini adalah 13%. Pada tahun ini saya akan umumkan bahawa kenaikan itu lebih tinggi dari 13%.
Anwar, who is also the finance minister, said this when officiating the Labor Day celebrations at the Putrajaya International Convention Centre, PICC, on Wednesday. He also said for civil servants on the lowest salary scale, their total income, including allowances, would increase to a minimum of 2,000 ringgit per month from the current 1,795 ringgit per month.
Sekarang ini pendapatan menyeluruh minimum pejabat awam ialah 1,795. Dan disebut tadi, dan saya setuju, tidak menusabah.
Anwar added that the government has allocated more than 10 billion ringgit for the salary adjustment, which will be applicable to all civil servants. Details regarding the salary increase for civil servants would be announced during the tabling of the 2025 budget in October this year. At the same event, Anwar also urged the private sector to follow the government's lead in safeguarding workers' welfare by implementing reasonable wages. The Prime Minister said companies boasting millions in profits annually should allocate a portion of their earnings towards their workforce, acknowledging their dedication and exemplary productivity.
Saya mahu dan berikan tempoh kepada mereka, memberikan perhatian. Ada syarikat-syarikat swasta yang untungnya itu berlipat kali ganda. Dari mana untungnya? Kerana produktiviti. Dari mana produktiviti? Produktiviti itu dengan pekerja. Jadi berilah sedikit. Kalau syarikat untung 100 juta, berilah berapa ratus ringgit kepada pekerja. Dan pakai saya fikir itu munasabah.
Anwar also said that the government, despite having debts and deficits, was serious about safeguarding the welfare of workers, appreciating their sacrifices and not treating their work as if it is unrecognized. Therefore, he urged the private sectors to make appropriate considerations to increase the salaries of their workers. Meanwhile, addressing the government's efforts to enhance the wages of Malaysian workers, Human Resources Minister Stephen Sim highlighted that the forthcoming pilot project of the Progressive Wage Policy in collaboration with the Economy Ministry is expected to commence in June. He said the government has allocated 50 million ringgit for the pilot project with a targeted participation of 1,000 companies.
Namun, kita sedar bahawa gaji minimum sahaja tidak memadai, terutamanya bagi mereka yang berpendapatan sederhana ataupun middle income. Justru, antara prakarsa kerajaan untuk menambah baik keadaan upah pekerja Malaysia ialah dengan memperkenalkan dasar gaji progresif bagi memacu pampasan upah yang lebih baik.
He added that the pilot project is expected to benefit an estimated 1.05 million Malaysian workers. In conjunction with the 2024 National Labor Day celebration on Wednesday, the government also launched the National Human Resources Policy Framework, which addresses, among others, equitable compensation and job welfare. The framework, which comprises 3 cores and 11 strategies, was developed after considering feedback from stakeholders and the public through engagement sessions, focus group discussions, and online surveys. Now, the government's announcement on the salary increase of more than 13% for the public sector shows its appreciation for nearly 1.6 million civil servants in the country. The Congress of Union of Employees in the Public and Civil Services Malaysia, QPACS, said the increase will not only provide relief to civil servants at all levels, but also spur them to provide the best service for the people and country.
Kita berharap supaya mereka memahami sebenarnya kedudukan gaji kami yang telah pun 12 tahun tidak ditingkatkan. Justru itu kami merasa menasabah pengumuman ini, dan pada masa sama kami ingin melihat di luar sana juga dapat memberi kerjasama yang baik untuk terus menyokong perkhidmatan awam.
Later in the day, Datuk Sri Anwar said that he is confident that the government will be able to control any possible inflationary pressures stemming from the newly announced increase in civil servant salaries. The Prime Minister said that the phased implementation of the wage hike will help the government to closely monitor its effect on inflation.
Dan sebab itu kenaikan ini berperingkat, naik Disember dan berikutnya tahun berikutnya. Jadi kalau ada naik pun naik dalam keadaan terkawal, kerana seperti kita tahu inflasi di negara kita paling rendah di Asia.
Anwar said this during the Soal Jawab Perdana Menteri program broadcasted by all local television stations on Wednesday night. He added that although the government is expecting a slight increase, the government will strive to make sure the inflation rate will not burden the people. According to Bank Negara Malaysia, overall inflation is expected to remain moderate between 2.0% and 3.5% this year, following cost pressures that are under control following improved global supply conditions. The Prime Minister also said that civil servants' wage hike was aimed at balancing the income gap between those in the lower and high grades in the public sector.
Bagi kalangan yang golongan yang rendah, itu mungkin mencecah sehingga 25-30%.
Okay.
Ya, jadi itu berbeza dengan pendekatan yang lama di mana kita berikan keutamaan kepada kelompok tertinggi, kita robah. Jadi saya tumpukan kenaikan bagi peringkat yang lebih rendah dan mengurangkan kenaikan bagi peringkat yang tertinggi.
He also hoped that civil servants would increase their productivity in line with the salary hike. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said he and the government are willing to accept any criticism, but will not compromise with any party that touches on 3R, or royalty, religion, and race sentiments. He stressed that the freedom of speech provided for in the federal constitution does not mean the freedom to criticize and insult at will.
Raja-raja Melayu secara konsensus meminta supaya kerajaan lebih tegas menghalang ini kerana mereka rasa tidak adil. Dia diserang, dia tak boleh jawab. Padahal perlembagaan memperuntukkan. Saudara nak kata kebebasan untuk maki hamun raja-raja. Apa nak jadi negara ni? Tapi cakap semua nak pertahan Melayu. Parti pun parti Melayu. Tapi duk maki raja-raja Melayu. Saya nak beritahu, buatlah apa pun, saya tidak bertolak ansur. Langgar peraturan ini, polis akan bertindak tegas dan saya minta Peguam Negara kaji dan bawa ke mahkamah, biar mahkamah putuskan.
On another matter, Anwar said Malaysia will use its good relations with all countries to collectively help stop the oppression of the Israeli regime against the people in Gaza, Palestine. He added that a strategy involving various countries should be devised because the oppression in Gaza is no longer just an issue involving the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, Arab countries, and Islamic nations. He also said that Malaysia's firmness in pressing Israel to stop its violence against the people of Gaza was not a show of strength, but was done on humanitarian grounds. The Transport Ministry is closely monitoring the latest developments of the volcanic eruptions at Mount Ruang, Indonesia, which was reported to have erupted 3 times on Tuesday, spewing lava with ash spreading as far as Malaysia. Its Minister Anthony Loke said thus far, the eruption of Mount Ruang has affected some airspace in Tawau, Sabah, causing some flights to the district to be diverted to Kota Kinabalu on Tuesday. He said any decision, including the closure of airspace and any national airport, would be decided by the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, taking into account safety factors. He added, however, that closing the airport is only the last step that will be taken if necessary, and that no such decision would be made if it does not affect the country's airspace. It was reported on Wednesday that the eruption from Mount Ruang have spewed lava and ash more than 5 kilometers into the sky. The Indonesian Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysical Agency reported that volcanic ash had reached the island of Borneo, which is shared between Malaysia, Indonesia and Brunei. Fake bomb threats shut over 50 schools in Indian capital. News from the foreign front when we return. Indah macam dulu-dulu riang-riang sisimu indah macam dulu-dulu aku rindu rasa macam dulu-dulu rasa tanpa rasa macam dulu-dulu aku rindu.
Get ready, ladies. It's time to shatter the stereotypes. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smiles. This talk show is all about you. Catch Women Talk every Saturdays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Stream also on Tonton. Hai jodoh, trend mencari jodoh melalui online semakin popular. Kenapa?
Penyakit mata jangan lebih mudah kena cakna dan rawat.
Kini pekerja boleh memohon waktu kerja anjal tak kira tempat dan masa.
Ramai anak muda jadi jutawan kerana ramai yang mula terjun dalam dunia perniagaan.
Soal wang kepentingan emas katanya untuk menghadapi krisis kewangan.
MHI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 9.30 pagi hingga 10.30 pagi.
Di TV3 dan juga stream melalui Tonton.
The foreign news. Activists took to the streets in Asian capitals and European cities on Wednesday to mark May Day with protests over rising prices and government labour policies and calls for improved workers' rights. Police in Istanbul, Turkey detained dozens of people who tried to reach the central Taksim Square in defiance of a government ban on marking Labour Day at the landmark location. Barricades were erected and all routes leading to Taksim Square were sealed off. In Seoul, the South Korean capital, thousands of protesters sang, waved flags and shouted pro-labor slogans at the start of their rally. Organizers said their rally was primarily aimed at stepping up criticism of what they call anti-labor policies, pursued by the conservative government led by President Yoon Suk-yeol.
사실 우리 다 노동자인데 되게 이런 휴일 같은 것도 제대로 못 적용받는 노동자가 너무 많고 근데 그 와중에 정부에서는 뭐 너네 돈 받잖아 뭐 다 동의하고 일한 거잖아 이런 메시지를 계속 주고 있는 것 같아서
In Philippines' capital, Manila, hundreds of workers and left-wing activists marched and held a rally in the scorching summer heat to demand wage increases and job security amid soaring food and oil prices. Poor drivers joined the protest and called to end a government modernization program they fear will eventually lead to the removal of their dilapidated jeepneys, a main mode of public transport from Manila streets. Dozens of schools in India's national capital region were evacuated on Wednesday after they received a bomb threat by email. According to officials, more than 50 schools in Delhi and the adjoining suburb of Noida received the threatening email, triggering panic among parents and prompting schools to send students home. The hoax affected thousands of school children from grade 1 to 12. Police, however, said that nothing objectionable was found during searches on the schools. In a statement, New Delhi police said they had conducted thorough check of all schools as per protocol and concluded that the calls seemed to be hoax. Delhi Education Minister Atishi, in the meantime, appealed to people not to panic, adding that school authorities would be in touch with parents whenever needed. At least 24 people have died and 30 left injured after a section of a mountainside highway collapsed in China's Guangdong province on Wednesday, following days of heavy rain. According to officials, the incident occurred when a 17.9-meter stretch of a highway between Meizhou City and Dabu County caved in at about 2:10 a.m., trapping dozens of people in their vehicles. Local media reported that the 30 people in hospital are not currently at risk, as the provincial government dispatched 500 emergency response personnel to the scene. Authorities said a total of 20 vehicles fell into the collapsed portion of the road, which involved a total of 49 people. The incident is the latest in a string of deadly disasters to hit Guangdong in recent weeks, as the province has been lashed by heavy rains that have caused fatal floods in some areas. At least 2 children were killed in an overnight Israeli attack on a house in Rafah on Wednesday, while more reportedly died in an airstrike on a residential building in central Gaza City. The Zionist regime has ramped up bombardment in the vast majority of the Gaza Strip, including the eastern part of Rafah, where it's expected the Zionist army might start a ground offensive. According to Gaza's health ministry, a total of at least 33 Palestinians were killed and 57 left injured in the past 24 hours in Gaza. Meanwhile, in the West Bank, Zionist forces have detained 20 Palestinians throughout the occupied West Bank in 24 hours. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also said his forces will enter Gaza's southern city of Rafah, regardless of whether a ceasefire deal is reached with Hamas. However, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warns that a Zionist assault on Rafah would be an unbearable escalation in Gaza and the wider region. Malaysia and campaign on a winning note. Actions from the Uber Cup after this breather.
Geng di Lembah Kelang, jomlah beraya di Karnival Jom Heboh edisi Raya Babas di Putrajaya untuk aneka keriangan bersama keluarga. Temui selebriti studio tonton drama sangat seperti Era Fazira, Radin Zaharatul dan Lan Solo, personaliti media prima dan maskot kami. Juga saksikan dan sertai aktiviti menarik, pesta makanan, hiburan dan hadiah percuma untuk semua sepanjang hari. Temui anda semua 3 hingga 5 Mei ini di tapak parkir Presin 3 Putrajaya mulai jam 9 pagi. Jom, jom, jom!
Wanita hari ini
terus terang salah, berkias salah. Sebab salah dibuatnya.
Alah, berbasa-basi sebab nak jaga hati. Susah ke cakap lapik?
Nenas banyak khasiatnya.
Makan macam tu sedap, buat gulai lagi sedap.
Rindulah sukan ikan zaman sekolah dulu.
Bestnya bawa bola dalam sudu, lompat dalam guni, macam-macam.
Hidung gatal berair.
Lah, awak ada resdung ke? Jom kita tanya doktor.
Kata sayang, tapi asyik barang-barang marah-marah.
Fahamlah orang macam ni.
Semuanya di WCT3
dan stream ditonton.
Ever wondered what it takes to rise to the top?
the kind of music that I bring is different. You see? So whenever they want that kind of music, they know it's Shafinaz that they're going to call.
I want good things for myself. I want to take care of myself as well. So in order to take care of myself, I got to really work hard too.
Yeah.
So it's about marketing myself again and again.
Catch Women Talk this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3. Stream now on Tonton.
Sports now, badminton, the 2024 Uber Cup. National women's squad ended their campaign on a winning note after defeating Australia 4-1 on Wednesday to finish third in Group B. Go Jinwei got the ball rolling in the opening singles by outplaying Tiffany Ho 21-6, 21-12 in just 29 minutes to give Malaysia a 1-0 lead. However, Australia pulled level through their top doubles pair, Liyana Mapasa, Angela Yu, who edged Go Pei Ki, Teo Mei Shing 21-15, 21-17. Fortunately, Wong Ling Ching restored order for the national squad with an impressive 21-16, 21-3 win over Sydney Jonadi in the second singles, before Ho Lo Yi and Tan Jing Yi battled to a 21-12, 13-21, 21-10 win in the second doubles against Caitlin Ia, Grania Somerville to seal the third and winning point. In the third singles, Siti Zulaika Muhammad Azmi, making her debut, did not disappoint as she defeated Isabella Yan 21-10, 21-10 to make it 4-1 for Malaysia. Despite the win, the national squad still failed to qualify to the last 8 after they lost to Taiwan and Thailand previously. In another match, Japan women's squad overcame Indonesia 3-2 in their last tennis, the 2024 Madrid Open. Jiří Lehečka ended Rafael Nadal's emotional, inspirational, and final appearance at the tournament with a straight-set victory on Wednesday. The 30th seeded Czech delivered a crushing blow to the 37-year-old Spaniard, winning 7-5, 6-4 in 2 hours and 1 minute. Lehečka will face third seeded Daniil Medvedev for a place in the semi-finals. In another match, Felix Auger-Aliassime had to battle for almost 2 hours to upset 5th seeded Casper Ruud 6-4, 7-5 to reach the last 8. The Canadian will face a tall order next, as he will play world number 2 Jannik Sinner. Joining them was Carlos Alcaraz Garcia. The world number 3 was pushed to its limit before finally overcoming a resilient Jan-Lennart Struff 6-3, 6-7, 7-6 in a 3-hour thriller. The two-time defending champion will face Monte Carlo champion Andrei Rublev next for a semi-final spot. Two more suspects nabbed in 3.3 million ringgit corruption case. The details when Nightline returns.
Get ready, ladies. It's time to shatter the stereotype. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smiles. This talk show is all about you. Catch Women Talk every Saturdays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Stream also on Tonton.
Hai jodoh, trend mencari jodoh melalui online semakin popular. Kenapa?
Penyakit mata jangan lebih mudah kena cakna dan rawat.
Kini pekerja boleh memohon waktu kerja anjal tak kira tempat dan masa.
Ramai anak muda jadi jutawan kerana ramai yang mula terjun dalam dunia perniagaan.
Soal wang kepentingan emas katanya untuk menghadapi krisis kewangan.
MHI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 9.30 pagi hingga 10.30 pagi.
Di TV3 dan juga stream melalui Tonton.
Dugaan yang Maha Esa terus menyemai cinta buat pasangan ini.
Pagi je bangun tu, dia tak ingat saya. So, kita macam tak expect apa sebab Syamimi tak nampak pun tunjukkan kita simptom-simptom yang dia sakit. Sekarang bila dia keadaan dia macam ni, saya ada dia tapi saya tak ada jiwa dia.
Kita bukan resort tapi kita nak bagi guest boleh enjoy untuk experience apa yang dia tak dapat dalam city.
Kita perlukan wanita-wanita yang bijaksana. Lingkungan kita tu akan mempengaruhi kita.
Nona di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. In Johor, a water supply company chief executive officer and a company owner have been remanded for 3 days until Friday by the Johor Bahru Magistrates Court for allegedly receiving bribes and making false claims. The remand order against the two men was issued by Magistrate Liyana on Wednesday morning to facilitate an ongoing graft investigation by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC. The two men, aged 35 and 38, were arrested at the Selangor MACC office at about 4 p.m. on Tuesday before they were brought to the Magistrates Court to be remanded. The arrest comes following a probe launched over several complaints made last year against two other high-ranking officers of the water supply company in Johor for allegedly receiving bribes from two contractors for assisting their companies in securing service and supply contracts. Both men also allegedly submitted documents containing false information to obtain an allocation amounting to 3.3 million ringgit for a program that was not fully implemented. The two suspects, aged 36 and 40, were remanded on Tuesday. Johor MACC Director Dato Azmi Alias confirmed the arrest and said that the case is being investigated under the MACC Act. Meanwhile, at the same magistrates' court, the remand order against 4 individuals have been extended for another 4 days until Sunday to facilitate police investigation into the death of a 9-month-old baby girl believed to be from child abuse. All 4 suspects, aged between 29 and 42, including a foreign woman, were initially remanded for 6 days from last Friday to assist the probe under the Child Act for neglect. Johor Bahru Utara Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Balveer Singh Mahindar Singh said the suspects were arrested at several locations around the city last Thursday. The investigation was initiated based on a report lodged by a medical officer at the Sultanah Aminah Hospital earlier the same day about a suspected abuse case involving a baby girl receiving treatment in the hospital's intensive care unit. The infant was confirmed dead the following morning at 3:50 a.m. and the results of the autopsy revealed criminal elements in her death. 2 of those detained were the baby's guardians, a local married couple. Police are currently tracking down the victim's Vietnamese mother. In Terengganu, a total of 25 construction site Kongsi, occupied by 81 workers, were destroyed in a fire on Pulau Perhentian Kecil in Besut early Wednesday. State Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Director of Operation Muhammad Basri Kamaruzaman said 6 officers and members from the Besut Fire and Rescue Station were deployed to the scene upon receiving a distress call at 9:09 a.m. The firefighters had to board a boat to the location of the incident on the island, which is approximately 30 kilometers away from the mainland. Upon arrival, it was found that 25 of the 33 kongsi were razed, and the fire was still raging as the houses were located close together. Firefighters took about 30 minutes to control and extinguish the flames, which also affected a small forest nearby. There was no casualty, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as 7-time Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton showed off his driving skills and dazzled spectators with donuts on the streets of New York City. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for tuning in and take care, Malaysia.